Hey everyone, today we're going to take a look at the Legion Go S. I've had it in my possession for about a week now. I did cover this during CES and I had went hands-on there at the Lenovo event, but I only got like, I don't know, maybe an hour with the device. And most of that honestly was just filming footage of it and a little bit of gameplay. So now that I have it in my possession, I'm kind of at an awkward spot where I haven't had enough time to really do a proper review, but I do have enough that I can give you guys an update and share some early impressions. So today I'm going to focus on the feel of the device, what's changed from the prototype. I'll show you a little bit of gameplay performance, and then I'm also going to show you guys what the speakers actually sound like. That's been a huge question that I keep seeing in the comments. So the first thing that I've talked about before was actually just the feel and the ergonomics of the device. So the device feels really good in the hand, and not much has changed in that regard since the prototype. The D-pad is different though. I've tested it out with Celeste as well as Street Fighter, and when I was playing Celeste, notice any kind of like accidental diagonals. Like if I would want to go at an angle, I could usually achieve it every time. If I wanted to go left, right, didn't matter. I didn't really get any accidental inputs. So the D-pad seems good. It's accurate. I'm not honestly like a big D-pad guy, but from what I could tell, it seems to do very well. Next up is the joysticks. Now, I really like the ones on the prototype, and they've kept them the same on here. So they're a lot tighter than the original, and they also have like a much larger range of motion. Like if you look at it, you can see the size of the hole there and how much I can actually spin it around. If I grab the Legion Go joysticks, you can immediately see that they're quite a bit smaller, the range of motion's less, and they're also quite a bit looser. Like it's hard to show you on a video, but they do move quite loosely here. Where these guys, they seem to have a lot more tension. So yeah, these things should work great for like first-person shooter games. Next up is the buttons. So they're actually kind of clicky. So I'm going to bring it by the mic here just to show you. It's so you can hopefully hear it. So they're not really mushy. They're more clicky, but they feel pretty good, and they're a large size here. So it feels like you're playing on a controller. Next up is the bumpers and triggers. So I'll start with the bumpers. These are, you can click them anywhere, but they are super clicky. Like I'll show you again. Very clicky, but they work pretty well. The triggers, they feel good. They remind me a lot of the previous generation. Although one thing I'll say that's kind of interesting is actually the range of motion. So it looks like it should go all the way down, but it does not. It actually bottoms out here. Now you might be thinking I had the trigger stop on, but it's actually off. If I turn the trigger stop on, you get a super small motion, which would be great for like first-person shooter games. And the toggles seem to work pretty well. At the CES event, the toggles seem to be kind of worn out, so I'm happy to see that they actually do work pretty smooth. Overall, yeah, triggers, bumpers, they seem pretty good. Next up is the trackpad. So there's something kind of annoying with it. Every time you touch it, it vibrates. Like I'll get you to listen again. So thankfully you can turn that off in Legion space, so I recommend doing that as probably one of the first things. I found it quite annoying. I'm not sure if you will, but yeah, I don't like having that buzz every single time. Another thing that's changed is they've taken the Legion space button and the pull-out menu. They're both at the top here. Although I do wish that back and the start button were at the top instead, but it is what it is. It's not really a big deal, but something that I just wish was the case here. Last thing to cover for the buttons is actually just the rear buttons. These are two programmable buttons. They seem to work pretty well. I already went over the hair triggers, so those work well. The one thing with these buttons is they seem to actually fit pretty well. Like when you're holding the device, my middle finger kind of rests against them, which is good. It doesn't feel like they're really out of the way. And then the last thing I'll say is actually relating to the controller and ergonomics is actually just the device itself. Like it's very comfortable. If you take a look at the grips here, they're a little bit different than the previous generation. Like the previous generation was a little bit bigger, but they were a little bit more rounded. These ones have kind of like a like an angle here that's just like a gradual angle, which seems to work quite well. Like it makes the device feel quite a bit lighter than it is. I can't really explain it. It just feels well distributed. The device I think is about 750 grams, but with this it feels closer to that, like closer to like maybe an ROG Ally, which is under 700. And yeah, it's just very comfortable device to use and to hold. So ergonomics get a complete A+ for me. Next is the screen. So I showed it a little bit in my last video, but the screen is nice, although it is a little bit dim compared to some of the other devices I have. I may have just gotten spoiled with OLED displays like with the One X Fly and seeing the Legion Go 2. But the screen is nice. It has some decent specs, and like I said, the brightness is the only thing that I would say is maybe one of its weaknesses. The next thing that I'll quickly cover that I hadn't mentioned actually just a second ago is actually this the shell itself and the plastics. So I haven't really had a chance to take it apart. Usually when I take apart a device and run a pry tool along here or a guitar pick, that's often when you can tell the quality of the plastics. If the tabs snap very easy, that's usually when it's pretty cheap plastic. So I'm going to take this apart later to check out the SSD, but I'll have to do that in my review. For now, I would say the plastics feel good, but I couldn't tell you on their quality here. They also have some textured grip on the handles, which does work pretty well. Like, it does not feel like it's going to slip out of my hand. So that was a nice touch. And overall, it seems to look pretty nice. The next thing that I'm going to quickly go over is the speakers here. They're front facing now instead of being at the top like the previous device. And there has definitely been some improvements. So I'm going to show you what it sounds like rather than just explaining it. I'll take my mic here. So I have all audio effects turned off. I'll quickly turn it off here. And then I'll show you what it sounds like when I put Dolby Atmos back on. So let's take a look here. Okay, so now I'm going to turn that off and I'm going to put on Dolby Atmos just to show you how much of a difference you can make here. And here it is with Dolby Atmos. So definitely an improvement from the first original Legion Go. That one had pretty poor speakers. So I'm going to test this out later on in my review against a few other devices so you can hear what it sounds like. But overall, my impression is I would say that they sound good. I wouldn't say that they're the best device that I've heard, but they're definitely among the nicer devices. It seems to work pretty well. And then the other thing that I was going to show you is actually some gameplay. So this isn't the end-all be-all test, but I'll show you what it looks like in a few different games at a few settings. And one last thing to keep in mind is I forgot to mention this is actually the 32 gigabyte Z2 Go model, so keep that in mind when you're looking at these tests. There are going to be some other variants coming out soon, so let's take a look.
Already hates me for being late this morning.
Bro, I told you to be on time.
It's fine. I'll be back before. Never said it was a good one. It was supposed to be a normal day. Teach physics, have awkward cut.
How you holding up?
Miles? Crystal Evans called.
Oh, man, am I getting expelled?
Hey!
Caught up to you a couple times too. But it's not easy keeping up with a machine rider.
You always were a good tracker.
story about Smith's boy. Lad went missing one day, so folk Nagger Richardson that was hunting nearby started poking the skin.
Move it.
Twisting and
It's raining, it's pouring,
I've never witnessed such acrobatic perfection. I think you're ready for our highly realistic battlefield simulator. That's right, the real deal. Impeccable. Like I always say, the best simulation is a real simulation. Now, activate the battlefield.
So yeah, that's the game performance. I'll be showing you in the review against some other devices, so I actually have a better idea. Right now, I can just say kind of what I feel about it and what I kind of noticed. And it is definitely underperforming compared to the original Legion Go. I would say that it feels like it's kind of somewhere in between the Steam Deck and the Legion Go, but probably closer to the Steam Deck. So once I get a chance to actually test it against these devices, I'll put that in my review and then you'll get a better picture. But overall, the performance does not seem to be super impressive right now. And perhaps by the time I finish the review, there'll be a new set of drivers and I can test it out with fresh drivers. So that's just another quick look at the Legion Go S. As I keep going, I've been putting out some videos on my Facebook channel, just some unedited, just gameplay. I've also put out some videos that are a little bit more edited and formatted on the Handhelds United channel, so I'll drop that down below as well. There's a few videos that you could check out there, and hopefully they'll give you a better sense. And yeah, if you have any questions about this device, just drop it in the comments. If there's things that you would like me to test out when I actually do the review, then I'll include those. I will be including a battery life, some minor comparisons against other devices. Maybe I'll get a chance to take a look at the internals. I'll talk about the heat. So I'll go a lot more in depth than I did in this one. Just let me know what other things you'd like to see. So that's going to wrap it up. So it's been fun testing the device so far. Looking forward to doing a bit more. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video and thank you for watching.